Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. Now, a toxic relationship is a harmful and unhealthy connection between two people where negative behaviors, dynamics, and interactions outweigh the positive ones. It is characterized by emotional, mental, or even physical harm, and often leaves one or both parties feeling drained, unsupported, or unsafe. It's another beautiful episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name remains Osayiwa Mesale, and tonight, I want to understand why people stay in toxic relationships, especially referencing the recent happenings or recent events in the news with Two-Face Idibia and his wife, Annie Idibia, and of course, the recent separation from, or not recent, right, the news around record label and artists, former artists signed under his label, Mercy Chinwo and Easy. I mean, I believe that these are all toxic relationships. It doesn't have to be real romantic relationship. Even work relationship can be toxic. Friends can be toxic, right? So why do people stay in toxic relationships? That's the conversation for tonight. Now remember, Ways is all about you, and you are the why in Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single day and add your voice to the discussion. Now you head on to our YouTube page, is at Official Upgrade TV. You can hit that subscribe button, like, share, invite your families and friends to watch, and also join the show right now. Because I really want to hear your thoughts on this. And when I open my phone lines, I will love to hear what your thoughts are on toxic relationships, right? Why do you think people stay in relationships that really bring a lot of harm to them? Some physical, some emotional, some is a combination of a lot of things. All right, so as we try to attempt to talk about this topic tonight, right, let's ponder on my quote for the day. It says, "The purpose of a relationship is not to have another who might complete you, but to have another with whom you might share your completeness." I think a lot of preachers have said this thing in the past, right? Especially when it comes to romantic relationships, right? They've said it in the past that a lot of common mistakes that we make as human beings is we think, so I'm marrying this woman to complete me, or I'm marrying this man to complete me. No. You're supposed to be two complete individuals coming together, like deciding to come together and then live together, right? So it means that there has to be some level of wholesomeness as an individual. Then you then meet another whole person, and both of you then make a beautiful union. But when we have a lot of broken people, you know, coming together, this is what we see in the society, and it just breeds a lot of toxicity. We'll delve into this conversation much later, but first, let me run off on a break. When I come back from that break, I want to let you in on my news interests for the day.
It's your girl Mercy Chinwo Blessed. First, I want to say thanks to every one of you for your immense love and support. I never believed the day would come where I would sit here to share my story. For the sake of the body of Christ, I thought to bring some clarity to a lot of misleading news out there online about the Mercy Chinwo brand. A man said I sued him, came online, made videos to tarnish my image. He looked at me and said, I made you who you are and I will destroy you. I became scared of my life. It got to a point where I had to move from Lagos to Port Harcourt because this man made the environment toxic for me. I've endured bully. I've endured threats. Whatever he's doing on social media now is nothing compared to what I went through. This is not to paint him bad. He took me to court, came online to tell the public that I took him to court. Here are the documents. You took myself and Minister Judike to court. And you're here playing the victim game. You bullied me. You threatened my life. You said you made me who I am and that you would destroy me. When you were the same person, how many lawyers have you changed now? Because you said you're going to deal with me. You have connections. You have money. What did I do? What have I done to you? I took you as a father. I was once your backup singer. I served you diligently. We signed a management contract in 2017. As we progressed, you tried to convince me to sign a 12-year contract, which I said no. Since then, you started acting funny, always toxic because I did not extend the contract. Immediately after my contract, I discovered you forged a new contract. Please tell the world what happened to the 2017 and the 2019 contract. You seized my royalties for 2 years. You're a bully. You're an oppressor. One of my major crimes was when I did a song with Pastor Nathaniel Bassi. Because this man hates Pastor Nathaniel Bassi, you went as far as sponsoring fake news about an innocent child, my son, and you said my son was not my son. And you paid bloggers because you hate Pastor Jerry Eze. You won't want me to go for his events. The people you fight, I must fight them with you. And when I ask you questions, why don't you like them? You start harassing me. Because he had threatened me countlessly. You said you made me who I am and you have the power to destroy me. You are not God and you cannot destroy me. You have bloggers. I have God. The worst you can do is what you are doing. Like I said, what I went through working with you is nothing compared to what you are doing. You have bloggers. I have God. And I know that God will not let your plan come to pass. For his thoughts for me, they are of good and not of evil.
Where do I start from? We have to come to the realization that truly there are people that are very toxic in this world. I've had my own fair share of toxic people. A lot of people wonder why I left Your View on TVC. It was because of something, similar. Did I have my flaws? Of course I did. But I didn't also expect that the people I had bonded with over the years, thinking these were my people, would be easily poisoned against me, or would easily want to see me fall, or would easily want to pull the rug off my feet. When you hear statements like I made you, right? I made you who you are and I will destroy you. I mean, in all sense of whatever it is, who do you think you are as a person? Regardless, we are all supposed to be tools in the hands of God. If people succeed through us, then be grateful and just move on. But when you start to have that mindset that you think that you can literally destroy someone because of your perceived strength or whatever, then of course, I always believe that as long as you have a good heart, no matter what anybody tries to do, because that is what happened in my case. I was just sitting down doing my own. God was helping me fight my battles because there's nothing they did not do. Somebody looking at me in the face and telling me that I will make you disappear in Lagos. Who do you think you are? Right? To the extent of writing a book, trying to label me a terrible person, making all sorts of unfounded allegations against me, just because you feel something happened or whatever it is. I think we as Nigerians, we need to be conscious Because you see, all this while, Mesichiwo had not said anything. She had been quiet. He was the one that first of all accused, that said she took him to court. All of a sudden, now you're not coming. We're now seeing that he was the one that actually filed, ordered charged her to court. You see, when you see people that make a lot of noise, they make a lot of noise. Just know that there's more to it. We also, as humans, we need to be conscious to hear different sides of the story. Let's not be quick to just take actions or make decisions based on because somebody is coming and the person is hysteric and this person is crying and all of that. Because that's what happened to me. I'm not a dramatic person. So if you like, you come and you shout, you cry, I'll just be looking at you. But this is what we see all the time. And that's why a lot of us as human beings in Nigeria were so gullible. Because somebody is the one crying and somebody is feeling like, oh, the whole world is against the person. Then you now start to feel some kind of way without even hearing, the other side of the story. So you see, my own strategy is that, if you never gave me an opportunity to give me a benefit of that, I would not even come out to answer you. Message will even try. Me, I will not even talk. If you like, say anything you want to say. Person published book, season 1 in no sell, season 2 on top my matter. Till today, I don't know what is inside that book. I just saw people sending me, say, your name is inside this book. I don't know what is inside. But I'm just trying to say that you need to be conscious that people intentionally poison the minds of others against you. Once you walk with that consciousness, you are also careful, right, who you bring close to yourself. And you see, the thing with artists, and this is for artists that are upcoming, you have to be extremely careful. You have to be extremely careful. At least we could excuse artists of the past because there was really nothing, all these things are just beginning to come up. Even though, yes, there were issues around record label and all of that in the past. But now, the amount of viciousness that you see, it is just alarming. So even artists, no matter how desperate you are, be very conscious when it comes to signing deals, when it comes to contracts. Read it. And I know that when you sign a contract, you are supposed to sign that contract page by page. Because from these allegations, if you had read the report, the statement she had released before this video, she said that the contract in 2017 was actually a 5-page document. But this one that he now brought up, right, that they now eventually found 22 different years. One is 2017, one is 2019, and the same document is a 25 or something page document. So even you, when you're signing contracts, sign each page. Sign each page with the date. So nobody can come and alter anything, because if you have read through the contract, you have to be intentional. I took my time to take this story as my what's in the news because it's actually a toxic relationship. You are working for someone or someone is working for you and the person cannot breathe anymore. You need to also recognize that people would eventually become stars. Look at the case of what's her name? Nancy Sime and the Hip TV man. I forget his name now. Ayanima Shaun. The relationship was so beautiful that they celebrated, I think, they had to do like a proper send-forth for her 20 years. Would I say that it was a smooth relationship all through? I wouldn't say so. There would have been some ups and downs, right? But you need to understand that this person is a star beyond your brand. And just align. When people are meant to shine, they will shine regardless. Even if you try to dim their lights, they will shine regardless. And I think people need to start getting wiser. When you identify that God has brought a star to you, be intentional about nurturing that star, so that no matter where that star goes tomorrow, the blessings and the whatever that goes on with that person will continue to follow you, because you are also part of the people that discover them. Not that you now sit down and say, no, I made you and I can destroy you. Who are you? Well, the case is in court. Me, I just thought to talk about it because it's a very toxic relationship. And if you are in one, shine your eyes. Don't think it will be any better. And just wake up. I tell people that work for me, if you're not comfortable working for me, if you have to start feeling like, you have to be, feeling somehow you're emotionally down, because I don't like all those things. If you want to just carry your load, send your resignation letter. I will happily do a send-forth for you, than staying in a place that you are not happy working in. I'll take a break. When I come back, we'll continue toxic relationships. Stay with me. right, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking today, so thanks for staying tuned. Now, we're discussing why do people stay in toxic relationships, and I actually needed to break down certain things so that it helps us put this conversation in perspective. So you then study it and juxtapose that with your relationship. Then maybe to some extent you'll be able to find, something tangible from this conversation. I would say that the key features, right, of a toxic relationship, one would be lack of respect, right? When you start to find someone disrespecting you, being dismissive, right, belittling your behavior. Belittling behaviors, like they just look at you and like start to look down on you. That is a very toxic relationship. And it's always maxed, right? Because you see, as little as somebody not even respecting the fact that you are a human, or even respecting your opinions, where you are talking and the person does not even regard that whatever it is that you've said, not even putting a consideration, you are in a toxic relationship. When there's no respect and they just dismiss it, you're trying to talk about, keep quiet, waiting, It comes off like a joke, right? It comes off like a joke. But those things add up to what eventually builds to the point where it now becomes like both of you can't stand each other. Be it friendship, and I said it's not just a love relationship, even friends. As a friend, if I cannot respect you, then I'm a toxic friend, right? If I'm dismissive, if I belittle what your achievement, if I belittle it. I'll give you an example. When my younger sister was in university, in fact, she was like in maybe 200 level, right? I remember that our very first trip out of this country, I was the one that sponsored that trip. And I took her abroad. Of course, younger sister now, you rag me, collect shopping money and everything. And of course, everything happened. By the time she came back, she had graduated and she started serving. She then met her husband and everything. I knew when there was a switch. I knew when her status changed. She was still underneath me. She was still my younger sister, but I could sense that this person had leveled up. Do you understand? And she had gone even way beyond where I was. And even in my behavior, she could tell. And that's why till tomorrow, we don't joke with each other as friends. Yes, and we're siblings, right? We tell each other everything. Because she knows that whenever we're having a conversation, it's a decent conversation. I respect her enough, despite the fact that she's my younger sister. But some people will say, I beg, don't be you I know when they wear diaper, those kind of funny things. Right? See, disrespect comes in different ways. If somebody, maybe because the person met you at a very low level and the person is refusing to see that you have grown or you have advanced, right, or you have developed, then you need to walk away from that relationship. Or is it when you meet someone that is very controlling and manipulative? When one of your partner tries to dominate or manipulate the other, often undermining their authority or confidence. Once you find a manipulative person that wants to always dominate you, you are talking, saying, keep quiet, let me say something. That is, in itself, is a toxic place. Because no matter how little, my children, it's not even now that they are grown. Even when they were babies, they had a say. We will sit down, we analyze. I don't just lord things over them. This is not picking where I born. Then now talk of somebody that you are supposed to be friends or you're supposed to be mates and all of that. It should be a relationship. It's a partnership. Nobody should look at somebody and belittle that person. So when you identify a partner that tries to always dominate or manipulate oftentimes, that is a toxic relationship. Now, one of the biggest things that we overlook, communication, right? When you have poor communication, you are in a toxic relationship that you cannot even talk. You can't communicate, or maybe your communication is often met with criticism, yelling, stonewalling rather than constructive dialogue. You're trying to talk and the person just, shut down, right? That is a toxic relationship because you know what? No matter how difficult the challenge is, you should be able to communicate what it is that the problem is. That is what tells you that you are in a healthy relationship, no matter how difficult it is. I have one of the toughest conversations with my siblings. We tell each other, this is what you do. You're not trying, no. You need to level up. It is a painful thing. It is a painful thing. So you need to understand that when you start to have a relationship where you cannot even tell what is in the deepest part of your mind to the other person, You are afraid how it will rub off on that person. That is already a toxic relationship. Or are we talking about emotional abuse? When you use actions, you use words that demean or belittle the person, right? Emotionally harming the other person. See your big coconut head. Yes, you're just ugly. And people say this word, verbal abuse. Or sometimes even your actions. Like you don't matter. People are talking, you are talking. Who do you think you are? Things like that. Because I've seen relationships like they are even ashamed of you. Right? They are ashamed to present you that this is maybe my friend or this is my partner. What do you think they do for there? Right? You must understand that people's actions is not just words that emotionally abuse. Your actions, when you belittle the next person like they don't matter. You know, we do this a lot. And these are signs that you're in a very, very toxic relationship. Or is it codependency? Right? An unhealthy level of dependency. Which is in the case of this is what I even see in the case of what's her name? Annie and Two-Face, right? This unhealthy level of dependency where one or both parties rely excessively on each other for validation or identity. In fact, this one just sums up what I think is happening with Annie and Two-Face, because she has kind of lost herself to that point where she does not even have an identity. Wherever she goes, Two-Face's wife. Two-Face's wife. Nobody even, do you get my point? That codependency, when you find yourself, even me sometimes, I consciously tell myself, when somebody is coming too close to me, and I realize that, because when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do my gratitude prayer to God. If I realize that I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about that person, before I think about God, that is not healthy for me. You must realize that when you start to overly depend on somebody else, right, for either validation or for a sense of identity, then it's a problem in itself. Or you're in a relationship that there's lack of trust. You know, you're always suspecting the person. You are always in that position of jealousy. You are always in that position where you have to lie. There is betrayal. All of those things happening. What are you doing there? You know, they say that the red flags are there. These things, we see these signs. But we just, I think at the back, somewhere at the back of our minds, we just choose not to want to, not to want to admit it, that we're in a toxic relationship, right? Because all of these things that erodes trust, jealousy, suspicions, lying, betrayal, and all of that, it already tells you that that is an unhealthy relationship, but we just neglect some of these signs. Or you also have this indifference, right? When one of or both of the parties disregard each other's feelings, right? Or you feel like you don't respect boundaries. You don't even pay attention to their needs. You know, you must have that partner that looks at you without you saying anything, and the partner says, I know something is wrong. Let's talk about it. That tells you you're in a healthy relationship. Or is it when you're chronically, you're chronically stressed? Always having anxiety. Like you start to think about the person. You're having palpitations. Then the sense of sadness, there's a sense of walking on eggshells around that person, like I said before. Where you're not able to even, like, you know if you talk. My sister, run. Or my brother, run. Because that is how you tell. If you cannot openly express yourself that you are, you know, that anxiety and all of that. Or one partner may isolate from the other, the other partners from her friends or his friends or family or support. Like you shut them out. And because you want to control, that is a very big sign that that person is a toxic person. Because you don't want the person, you don't want the person to know what, other people to know what is going on. Do you understand? So once you start to see a partner that tries to, who is that friend? Don't go to that friend anymore. Don't do this anymore. Don't do that anymore. Try to control who you hang around with. You are in a toxic relationship. Right? Of course, I've talked about physical harm, threats, you know, all these, you know, coerced sex or activities that are clear indicators of toxicity. These are all signs of toxic relationship. And you see, when you continue to see, we are humans and we are emotional beings, right? And I'm telling you this from experience, right? If you do not intentionally remove yourself from a relationship or a friendship that is toxic, what eventually happens is that you become the toxic person yourself, right? It might start off that it is that person that is pushing toxicity towards you. But you see, you would absorb, because we are receptive beings. You just be absorbing it. Everything is storing in your system. There's what is called neuro-linguistics programming, where you have a huge, it's not like just like the iceberg effect. You have a huge bank of subconscious information that has been stored in your system. So when you consistently keep yourself in a position where you are around toxic behavior or toxicity, what you are doing, you might say, I beg, I'm coping. Now lie. You are absorbing everything from all your senses. Is it from the feeling, from your eyes, from your ears, from your nose, all your, is it 6 senses or whatever senses that you have? You are absorbing everything. The day the outburst will come, even you will be shocked at what you can do. And that is what happens when you keep staying in a toxic environment. And some of the effects, like I said, of toxic relationships, you now start to have low self-esteem. You have very, very low self-esteem. You don't have any, you don't feel anything. You have to always needing validation. Oh, somebody just tells you I'm beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. You start to need validation. You will need everybody to tell you but you. You will need everybody else to tell you. You cannot look at yourself. You lose yourself. That essence, that sense of self-love is lost. Some people call me proud, but I really don't care. If you tell me you're beautiful, I say I know. Because I love myself enough to talk to myself. I tell myself that the 3 things that matter to me, my life, my mirror, and my mind. My mirror tells me who I am. I don't care what the world says I am. It is who I am, who I'm looking at, and I say, this is who I am. And I say my mind because I need to keep my mind sane. So anything that distorts my mind, that tries to disturb it, I just remove myself. So you see, this low self-esteem becomes one of the effects of a toxic relationship. Or is it the mental impact where you're having difficulty concentrating? This one is very important. You start to lose concentration. You have a lot of self-doubt. You have a lot of confusion. Like you are in a room, people are talking and you are lost. Why? Because you are not there. Your mind is somewhere else. And this is a result of you have allowed yourself to stay too long in a toxic relationship. Some of those physical impacts, right, would also be that you now start to have stress-related health issues, consistent headaches, fatigue, chronic illnesses. We've even heard of cases of cancer just because the person was in a toxic relationship. So, if you really want to look at this, a healthy relationship would be, the complete opposite. Right? It's a contrast from what I have said. It's going to be based on mutual respect. It's going to be based on trust. It's going to be based on love and support, communication. So once you are able to recognize that you are in a toxic relationship, then you start to intentionally try to remove yourself from that situation. So remember that the topic for today is why. Because I needed to, first of all, define or show you the signs of a toxic relationship so you understand. It might not be exactly as I've said it, but you will see the signs. You need to be clear on those signs. So why do people stay in toxic relationship? The fear of being alone. People may really fear that sense of loneliness or worry that they won't find another partner, and this would just, or they might say, I might never find somebody like him, or I might, God. You really have lost yourself. Because usually, when you are afraid of being alone, I was watching a video yesterday, Mary J. Blige, she was talking about that the time she found healing, she then understood how much she loved herself and loved her company. Why people stay in toxic relationships, they are just afraid. They don't know what is out there. There's a fear of the unknown. They're afraid of being lonely. They're afraid that they might never find another partner. And what if you don't find? You know what I always say is that I ask myself, what's the worst case scenario? Let's play worst case scenario. So let us do it to the extreme. So if I leave this relationship, what's the worst that can happen? As long as it doesn't cost my life, I would be fine. I will be fine. But if I stay, what will it cost me? So we need to start asking ourselves those real questions. Another reason, I had mentioned this earlier, and I will say it again, why people stay in toxic relationship is because these people have very low sense of self-worth. Individuals with low self-worth might believe that they don't even deserve anything better, or that the toxic behavior is their fault. You know, you start to hear saying, "Na me cause na me make them do wetin they do." You know, you start to hear things like that. It was my fault, because they have lost themselves to the point that they don't even have any sense of self-worth. That's why people would stay in toxic relationship. Another reason would be that the hope for change. Now this one, now they off me. Except you hear the voice of the Lord. And the Lord said, "Oh, my daughter, on the 20th of this person will change and it will never repeat itself." That's the only condition. And I can bet you for free, you will not hear that voice. That is the only condition somebody truly changes. That it is actually a divine intervention. And that divine intervention has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your tears. It has nothing to do with all your cry. It has nothing to do with the person's tears and cry, because they will kneel down, they'll cry, you know, with all the, everything, tears coming out, phlegm coming out, they'll be crying. "I will not do it again." It doesn't work that way. But you see, the person that stays in that toxic relationship, always somewhere at the back of their mind, they just have this hope. They believe that their partner will change, that things would improve, that they can, they can mend the relationship, right? And so in that place, that can keep people trapped, especially if the relationship has, some. Now, this is the trick. It has some intermittent positives moment, right? You start to see some positive things. Maybe that person maybe say, he's always going out. He doesn't come back and everything. So you will just see that in a month, he will just stay like 1 week. He will not do any of all those things. He will just stay, or she will just, just be nice. She'll be kind and all of that. So all those intermittent positive moments then helps you think, oh, maybe truly there will be a change. You understand? So that hope for change somewhere at the back of the mind, it messes your mind up to feel that these people will change. Emotional dependence. I've said this thing before. Right? When emotionally you depend, there's this emotional attachment. You believe that, you can't do without that person. It makes it even difficult for you to want to leave that relationship. So that is actually, some of the reasons people stay in toxic relationships. I'll take a break now. When I come back from that break, I have more reasons. Then I'll also like to open the phone lines. If you have experienced a toxic relationship, or you have a thing or two to say about toxic relationships, right? I would definitely want to hear your thoughts. But before I do so, I want to say that on this part of before this break, I would say, people actually normalize toxic behavior. Because again, why? Some of us have grown up in dysfunctional families and dysfunctional environments. And that can cause us to just view toxicity as normal things, and we just accept it. And that's why some people are blindsided by the fact that they are in a toxic relationship and they just stay in that relationship. Now, waiting my papa do my mama worse past this one now. Waiting they talk. Or what this one did is 10 times worse than this. This one is small now. You never even see anything. We have normalized toxic behaviors. So let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Is a season of love. In partnership with Yasin, Heartlines will be giving away 4 luxurious, beautiful gifts to 4 lucky women. So stay tuned to the show to find out how you can win these incredible, luxurious gifts. And yes, gentlemen, you can participate to win on behalf of your better half, because truly, love is in the air. So catch me live Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. on Heartlines.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands.
We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. So we're still discussing why people stay in toxic relationships, right? Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. Our phone lines are also now open. The numbers to call are 07025007749 or 07014242420. You know, I really want to hear what you have to say. Now, thank you so much for all the love. I'm just getting a lot of messages, right? My friend from the UK, Doreen, she says, oh, well done, Mama. I'm watching you on YouTube. Thank you so much, Doreen. My sister says, this girl is on fire. God bless all your efforts. Keep the consistency. Thank you so much, Ruth. I love you too. Then we have some comments on, it says, I think Charlene Edwards from YouTube says, greetings, Ola. It's supposed to be wow. My name is Uwa. Great topic. Because so many people think a relationship is only toxic when it's physical. Not knowing insult, disrespect, calling names, etc. are all signs of toxicity. So yeah, that's why it's important for us to talk about it. M. Jones says, hello, Ways. Lack of respect is huge among elders towards young people. I'm coming there, no worry. Especially amongst parents to child relationship. Yes, very important. Then someone said that, I think it was still MJ that says, Edward, he was saying to Edward that is so true. So many people don't realize they're in a toxic situation. And that was why it was important, first of all, before we even entered the topic of why people stay in toxic, it was important for us to identify what toxic relationships are. Even amongst siblings, amongst sisters, amongst friends, there's toxicity and it exists. So we have to be very conscious. Once you start to notice some behavior, there are some friends I just quietly moved away from because it's not, they are good people in their own, but they are not healthy for me. Because again, another thing I have also, you must, in all of these things, you must know yourself. I don't function in an unhealthy environment. Right? Because I'm a creative person, I must be in an environment where my mind is allowed to think freely. That is the only way I can become, like I can do great things. So once I identified that about myself and I knew that, oh, this is who I am as Uwa, it was so easy for me to be able to spot things. So when people thought, there's nothing I cannot walk away from, there's absolutely nothing I cannot walk away from. Right? There's nothing I cannot walk away. So you cannot use anything to hold me and say, without me, you cannot survive. Or I will deal with, let me see where you will go. Now, you're talking to the wrong person. Because guess what? Because of all the years that I've invested in myself, I have grown that spine. You understand? Nobody can threaten me. In fact, the more you threaten me, the more I will tell you that I can do without you. So if you are not, first of all, in that space, where you have gained your self-confidence back, it will be difficult. I am like this because I felt stubborn before. So do you understand? I'm a very, very, heady person. So, and if you now want to now prove to me that you can make me disappear, you're just wasting your time because I'm not that person to mess with. I am not. So we have to be clear. So when you start to see people doing all that kind of thing, they want to, or a man using school fees, to threaten his wife. Why? Why will you do that? Why would you do that? If you don't behave yourself, I will not give you money to. Why will you do that? Once you start to see those things, please be doing your exit plan. Just be planning yourself. And that is one of the mistakes I think a lot of young people make. You are in love, you're crazily in love and all of that. You abandon yourself. You completely lose yourself. See, in everything I've done over the years, one thing I have been very consistent in or consistent with is self-development. You can never catch any year go by with me that I'm not doing a course, I'm not doing something that should just improve my knowledge base or improve my skill. I'm currently doing my MBA. I finished an MEP program at Pan-Atlantic University last year in media entrepreneurship. I've done NLP, 1, 2, 3 stage. I've done presentation. I've done different things. I have done entrepreneurship courses. I've done different courses. Like every single time, I'm always looking for that next thing to improve myself. Because you see, somebody that is informed, right, it is a form of power. And once you are powerful, you can actually rise above toxic people. Because it can be very bad that you don't even see any good in yourself. Let me just settle. There's nothing I can do. That's what happens. And again, it happens because there's a lot of manipulation and gaslighting. Toxic partners often manipulate or gaslight their victims, right? They will start to doubt their own perception and they will feel incapable of living. They will just cripple you. And these things are done with words, actions. Oh, they don't even need to beat you. Just gaslighting you, making sure that, you start to, blessing and me be the problem safe. You know how there's something that somebody said that they will tell you every day. Imagine that they tell you now, you're a goat, you're a goat, you're a goat. I'll tell you like that for the next 10, 20 years. One day you will look at yourself in the mirror and you'll be seeing a goat. You will not see yourself. That's what happens. So once you start to put yourself in that state, it's difficult to withdraw. That's why I want to tell people around people that once you observe that somebody, don't be telling a woman, just manage, just stay. Or you tell a man, just manage, just stay. Or you say, now your friend, man, just stay. No. Friendship can be separated. Relationship, marriages can be separated. You can actually even separate and become very great friends. I don't have to be in a marriage relationship with you. I can be really cordial with you. But you see, if us being together under the same roof brings a level of animosity or wickedness or whatever, then it tells you that you're not meant to be there. And I'll bring this, what I've just said, to the next point I'm about to make on societal pressure. Right? And this stigma thing is a thing. You see, we talk when, why did she not leave? Even though Sinachi, why did she not leave? Because that one, eventually, she was unalived, right? But guess what? When she was trying to leave, it was you, the same society, the expectations, that you want them to just stay, don't manage them. So some people don't do the one way it was past. They will say, just manage. See, I have seen very beautiful relationships and friendships where the person just respects you. He would worship even the ground that they are good relationships. So when you find that there's toxicity in your relationship, it means that something is fundamentally wrong. So when the society keeps pressuring these people, right, and you're having this expectation that, just stay, because issues around divorce or separations, they are frowned at. You don't see somebody just stay. I was watching one of the videos of rich, young, what did they call the thing? Young, rich and famous, African rich and famous, where Two-Face was proposing to Annie. He said something in his proposal. He said, let us do the next 10 years together. You understand? And she in turn said, wait till be 10 years. I know they do 10 years with you. Now forever. You understand? This is the same person that in another interview said that before all these people that had babies for him, right? She was there. So she actually was in the picture while he was having illicit affairs and having babies everywhere. It doesn't make any sense. Or is it the one now that we've recently seen him going around with, what's it called, somebody trying to buy a wig for the person? I don't know how true those videos are all over social media. But I'm just trying to tell you societal expectation. I can bet you for free. This is what did they call them? How did they call them? There's something they call the code. They say the something couple. Oh, who will help me with that word? You know how they tag you? You know, that star couple. There's a word for it. It escapes my mind now. So because you have collected that image, you know, you will just endure anything you do now. You sabi. The image is that we are the perfect couple. You understand? So we have to remain a couple no matter what. That's what happens. That's societal pressure that comes on people. And of course, this one, I will stay on it a little bit. Financial dependence. My sister used to say to me that, Uwa, whatever you do as a woman, it is very important that you understand that you must push yourself to the point where you are able to earn money. Because one of the main causes of dependency on toxic people, or staying in a toxic relationship, or staying with a toxic partner, is because that partner controls the resource. Be it female, be it male. You stay with some friends that rain insults at you. They look down on you. Why? Because they are Papa na Dangote. Do you understand? They talk to you anyhow. They start to treat you like errand boy or errand girl. Go buy me this, go buy me that. It's because the person has some perceived wealth. Same with you are in a relationship with someone. Of course, if you do not have financial capacity, where will you go to really? Because again, don't forget that the society, your parents will tell you that you can't come back home. As they go, just they go like that, don't come back. Thank God for the kind of parents me I have. Right? But that is what the society does. So when you now do not have financial capacity, and that's why you notice, let me tell you what toxic people do. They lavish you with everything. They will give you money. They will give you everything. They'll give you the good life. You're flying business class. You're going everywhere, buying designer bag, designer shoes, all of those things. But guess what? If they go check your account or they go check your reward, you say, if anything happened today, it will shock you because you will not have anything to your name. A friend of mine told me a story how this girl was in a relationship with a billionaire and he was buying her all the things. Because she then noticed that this person was a toxic person, guess what she started doing? She was now talking to my friend. So he now told me that he advised her that instead of collecting gifts like designer bag and all of that, let her start collecting gifts that can be converted to cash easily. So instead of this, he said, no, I prefer jewelry. Buy me gold. Buy me this. Buy me that. That was her saving grace. Because it was all of those things that she was able to gather when she eventually ran away from the guy. Because you see those kind of people, they will provide driver for you. They will provide chef for you. They will provide gate man for you. They will even provide chaperone. They will provide bodyguard for you. They will give you everything. Like literally, you'll be walking like a princess, a queen. Don't do anything. I don't want you to work. I don't want you to do this. God, I beg. When something happens, they will discard you like a piece of toilet paper. And guess what? By the time you're discarded, you can't find money anywhere. It would be like that life you lived was in a dream. Even you will not believe that you lived that life before. So financial dependency is one of the biggest reasons a lot of people stay in toxic relationships. There's one big one too, again, in our community, in our society, family and children. You know, your children or family ties. You hear things like, I stayed though. Imagine, I just stayed in marriage. I just endure because of my children. Because of my children. Because that's what people say. You forget that when you die in that marriage, the children that you stayed because of, they will bring another woman to come and mother them. You understand? Or they come and father them. It depends on what case the abuse might be coming from. So when I hear stories or when I hear comments like, oh, I'm staying in the relationship because of my children, I say you don't know what you want in this life. Because staying in a relationship, you should actually leave a relationship for the sake of your children. So remember what I said earlier about the environment, because toxicity is not in isolation. It is almost like what goes around comes around, right? It is a subconscious programming. So when you see somebody exhibiting toxic behavior, it is because the person has been programmed. The environment has programmed that person. It might also be as a result of the person's own exposure, what the person saw, the relationships, the family the person grew up in. So when you stay in a toxic relationship, what you're only doing is that you are ensuring that that cycle of toxicity continues forever. It becomes an infinity cycle. If you say you're staying because of your children, you should actually leave. Your children should watch you walk away, because why? It is courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting even despite the fact that you are afraid. So you are teaching your children courage to walk away from things that will not bring, that will not bring joy to them, or things that would kill them, or destroy their emotions, or destroy their esteem. So when you say you are leaving, you are staying because of you just endure toxic relationship because of then you are actually not enlightened enough. Because the more you stay in that toxic relationship, you are programming your children to normalize toxicity. Because that was the last point I made before I went on that break. Normalizing toxicity. So you have to be very conscious of that. And I said it again, the cycle of abuse will just continue. Right? Because that is it. So you have to be very careful. When we say, please, let me just stay. You are just creating a psychological trap, making it even harder for you to break free from that toxic relationship. Now, there's also that fear of retaliation. In some cases, some people are afraid. They don't know whether the person might be violent towards them, he might harass them, and all of that. But the funny thing about what I have noticed, when you stay too much, because remember, I tell you, say, inside these things, small, when they speak small pigeon, see finish the inside. The man don't see you who you be now. Not be this small girl where I pick for streets. I beg you be nobody. See finish the inside. So you see, that's why they always say that don't just go outrightly to divorce. Separate. You understand? Separate. Maybe in that years of separation, it's not all the time it happens, but maybe in that years of separation, somebody will begin to appreciate and say, okay, and see differently. The person might genuinely change, but I don't guarantee that. In all honesty, if anything has made me to walk away from you, I would just rather we continue and just be good friends. There's no need for us to come back together. Because bad behaviors are hard to break. Right? So this fear of retaliation also is the reason a lot of people will just stay. I don't know what the person might do. Because we've heard of cases where the woman said she was going to walk away. So the man now said, okay, no problem and everything. She had left. She was out for a week. I don't know who sent her. When you go like that, just leave it. She can't carry herself. She wants to go and pack her load. That was how the man unalived her. So that retaliation does happen. There's also guilt or obligation, feeling responsible for the partner's well-being, or you're guilty about leaving that person because it seems like, it might cause the person harm. So you now start to stay. Oh, this is what, I did this, I did that, I just want to. Don't. If a relationship is broken, it's broken and it needs to be fixed. And sometimes a healthy separation can do a lot of good in terms of fixing that relationship. And I'll stop by, I'll wrap up this entire why people stay in toxic relationship with trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is a thing. You've seen young people that have been groomed, for instance, in sexually abused, right? They've been groomed. They were groomed from when they were a lot younger. The abuser kept on grooming until he eventually came into full-blown sexual abuse. Guess what eventually happened? The person bonds with that abuser. It's called trauma bonding. So intense highs and lows in the relationship, it can create that addictive emotional connection with that person. Making it evil. In fact, this trauma bonding is the most difficult one to break. Because you now start to see instead of you to see the person in the real sense of who the person is, right? That the person is pure evil, you start to feel some emotional connection and you are now addicted to the abuse that you have suffered. And this is because, again, as I said, it is prolonged stay in abusive relationship. That's why from the word go, once you notice, and people around, please, if a child or somebody tells you this is what is happening, don't say, oh, bear it. Please. I said I will come back to parents. Parents also create toxic environment for their children. So as parents, we also need to be conscious how we talk to our children. Let's not normalize shouting. Let's be intentional about communicating with our children. Because in that way, we can now create healthy children that become healthy adults. You understand? Because we don't even understand how to resolve conflict in this part of the world. We just feel like everything, or we avoid it. A lot of us are evasive when it comes to confrontation. Instead of us, let us discuss this issue, say it. And the truth is that truth will not hurt you. The worst case, you tell me, oh yes, I did it, and then what? Then we find a way to resolve the situation. That you have to lie, you have to be deceptive and all of that. It is because we were not taught how to communicate effectively. I'll take a comment from WhatsApp, I believe, and I'll wrap up. My God, we have so many comments. So, oh, it's OSA for short. Okay, it's OSA, not Ola. They tag them couple goals. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. The couple goals. The woman endured and the celeb man eventually married them. He said Choma and Davido, they are on the list. It is well, oh. Couple goals. Then somebody, oh, Daniel Ilo, where's regular fan? Good evening, my dear video. He said, long time, oh. Why do people stay in toxic relationship? Toxicity is very dangerous, and I sympathize with people who take it for granted. Why people stay in toxic relationship is that they feel they can endure and tolerate things. You're very correct by staying in that, by saying that people who endure toxic relationship are toxic themselves. God will help us. Now I understand the reason you left your View TVC. It's so sad that people that you bond with so well end up stabbing you at the back out of jealousy. God will help us all. Thank you, Daniel Ilo. MJO says to some people's defense, they grow up in toxicity, so it is normal for them. Yes, as I said, it is normal for them until they make a shift, breaking that bondage. And that's why therapy is encouraged. By all means, go through therapy. That's why we have hotlines, our show that comes up at 10 p.m., right? It is very important. Therapy is very important. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Unfortunately, I ran out of time. Enjoy.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.